Well, hi, hey, hello, everyone. So I'm starting up my top 10 Tuesday again. Last week I had done my top 10 favorite moments from the Hunger Games series. If you haven't checked that out, please do, and please check out my previous top 10 Tuesdays. I had another Hunger Games related one like a long time ago. But I also did ones, I think, on animals I like to be like reincarnated as and favorite coffee flavors, stuff like that. So I will link, if I can, the playlist down below. So, oh, sorry, I heard something. So for this week's Top 10 Tuesday, I thought it'd be fun to list 10 of my favorite South Park episodes. Now I think the series is like in its 20th or 21st season. I honestly can't remember. I haven't been too crazy about the last few seasons. Um, and this, of course, is subject to change, maybe eventually, but for now, these are episodes that I really enjoy and that I can watch more than once. So at number 10, we have Ritalin Christmas. This one is one of those twisted ones that are a mixture of comedy, like dark comedy, and it's very morbid, like I said, and twisted. So basically, in this episode, it's told from a story point of view, and it's basically about Stan. I forget how, but he comes across these animals, these woodland critters. There's like a rabbit and a squirrel and a deer and all that other stuff. Well, Porcupine. I remember the Porcupine because she's important. So the Porcupine is pregnant, and they tell him that she is pregnant with their savior, and that the mountain lion is coming to kill them, and it'll kill the critters and their savior and everything. So he goes to kill the mountain lion and finds out the mountain lion isn't as bad as they made it out, and he kind of discovers who their savior is. Yeah, it's one of those. If you're like deeply religious, I wouldn't recommend watching it, but it is funny. Number 9. So number 9 is WTF, and this is where the boys, they go to like this pro wrestling kind of thing, and then they want to take up wrestling at school, and they find out what they see on TV or that kind of stuff is very different from the actual wrestling that they do at school. And so they don't like that, and so they decide to put together their own like wrestling company kind of thing, and it just gets so ridiculous. It goes into a whole bunch of drama and ridiculous stories and characters being made up, and of course the wrestling teacher is very mad because that's not what wrestling, or wrestling as he calls it, is. And it's just funny because it's kind of stereotypical, but it's just fun. And some of the stories these kids come up with, like, and the fact that these people take it so serious, it's like their own little soap operas, you know. I mean, they had like accents, and one of them had an abortion when they were like 8 years old. And this was Cartman. He's a dude. So yeah, I mean they like gender bended and all this kind of stuff. It's like typical South Park. The next one, number 8, I believe, is Christian Rock Hard. Now, the boys, they want to put together a rock band, and they don't feel they're going anywhere. So Cartman decides to split off because they didn't want to go with his idea. He suggested that they form a Christian rock band and then just cross over. So basically, the whole episode is about them, one, getting in trouble for illegally downloading music, uh, them being joined by different artists, and the whole illegal download, pay for your stuff kind of thing, and then Cartman trying to form this band with Token and Butters. And basically, he's rewriting regular songs to fit a Christian narrative, but they come out very ridiculous because he's taking love songs and putting Jesus with them. And it's very wrong. It's very Cartman. And not to spoil it, but he does kind of rightfully get his ass kicked at the end by Token because, of course, it's Cartman and he's a racist little asshole. But it's just, like, I can see the point of not doing certain things because as a person who is, a writer and such, you wouldn't want people to just take your stuff that you've worked on, and I can definitely see why, no matter how much money they make, that people who are artists will get angry for people just taking stuff that they create and, not paying them. But just how South Park goes about it is always ridiculous and always hilarious. Because a child might not get his private island for his birthday. Which, that's kind of the thing people go to, is the money thing. And I can kind of see it if you read in between the lines. Like, it really should be being paid for your time, for your labor, for everything. But of course, everyone always thinks, oh my god, that it's just about vanity and stuff like that. So yeah, he creates this group called Faith Plus One, and then he learns that Christian rock groups don't get platinum albums. So at number 7 we have Make Love, Not Warcraft. So basically this is about the kids are playing Warcraft and all of a sudden their characters keep dying. And what they find out is it's this guy. They don't find out right away, but you as the audience are shown that it's basically this typical never leaves his computer loser kind of guy that's played the game so much he knows how to kill everyone. And I think I love this one just because it's the classic ridiculous South Park that everyone just makes this big deal out of, like it's an actual important thing. So, it has one of my favorite lines. So they're all in the boardroom, the meeting room, whatever, and they're trying to figure out how to stop this guy. And so one of them goes, "We are dealing with somebody who has played World of Warcraft every day of every hour of his life," or something like that. "We are dealing with somebody who has absolutely no life." And then the other guy goes, "How do you kill that which has no life?" Like something serious, like they're like actually going to war. And that's why I love episodes like these. And then, of course, the kids, they get into battle with this guy, and they're gaining a bunch of weight. They haven't showered, and it's like, it's part gross, but it's also part hilarious. Like, Cartman actually, like, shits into a bucket that his mom holds underneath. I'm like, that is the representation of spoiled, rotten children. At number 6, we have Passion of the Jew. Now, this one is still in its humor, but it's talking more about just how easily people can be led and how we can maybe abuse religion in certain ways, or how people view things and the consequences of them. So, of course, Cartman is always picking on Kyle for being Jewish, and then Cartman goes to see the Passion, and things basically go to hell. So, Cartman decides to dress up like Hitler and gather around people to basically go after Jewish people and stuff like that, and of course do all his typical racist Cartman things. And these people are completely clueless. Like, you have a kid dressed like Hitler. He's speaking in German. He's talking about a final solution and stuff like that, and these people just think he's talking about the passion. Like, he's just passionate about the passion, that he is a follower of Christ, and they're there to convert people. Like, everything goes over their head. And, at least to me, this was kind of like a commentary about how easily people can be led, where they will forget about, like, history and everything else. They just hear Jesus. Kid likes Jesus. Let's follow him. I'm pretty sure I've seen that brown outfit somewhere before, but, Jesus. And then, of course, Kyle, poor Kyle, is, like, feeling all this guilt and everything, and he doesn't know what to do. And basically, at the end, it's, as Stan says, that you should focus more on what Jesus taught rather than how he died. But I think the episode was a good balance of serious, ridiculous, and comedy. Number 5 is the Uncrowned Ball, and this is a Butters-based episode. Now, Butters is one of my favorite, like, side character, because there's the 4 boys who most of the show revolves around, and then there's the side characters. I think Butters is one of my absolute favorite, like, side characters in South Park, because even when he tries to be bad, he's just so adorable, and he's just so innocent, but he's gotten Cartman back, like, once or twice, which is pretty cool. So, in the Uncrowned Ball, basically, there's, like, the Twilight craze, and now all these preppy kids want to be vampires, and of course, it pisses the goth kids off. Because now, all of a sudden, they're dark and mysterious. Well, Butters, he decides he wants to be a vampire. So, he drinks, like, tomato juice or something, and then he thinks he's a vampire, and stuff like that, and he starts, like, dressing in black, and he dyes his hair black and everything, and it's just so ridiculous. And, like, the preppy kids, they take, like, these names like Vampire and Vladimir and stuff like that, and then the goth kids, they go and they burn down Hot Topic, because that's what started it all. And it's just Butters and his parents. Butters, you want to be grounded? I'm neither living nor dead. I am ungroundable. Or no, I think his parents call it ungroundable, one of those kind of things. But just Butters trying to be dark is, like, cute and hilarious. And Hot Topic, I know some people don't like it and everything, but I enjoy Hot Topic. Not because it's goth or whatever, but I just like the stuff they have. So at number 4, I have medicinal fried chicken, and the funny thing is that I actually worked at KFC when this came out. So basically, in this episode, they legalized medicinal marijuana. Medicinal. And KFC was in low-income areas, and they took that out. So basically now KFC is illegal in Colorado. So Randy, of course, finds this out, and he wants weed, basically. But you can only get it through a doctor. So he purposely gives himself cancer, testicular cancer, by sticking his balls in a microwave and other things. And they become so big, him and the other guys are, like, bouncing on him, and it's like, oh my god, that is raunchy, but hilarious. And Cartman, this pisses him off to no degree, to where they start kind of treating KFC like drugs. Like he goes out and meets guys in the back of alleys and stuff and trades money for KFC and gravy and stuff like that. And they have like rehab for KFC. Well, they give you like a little cup of gravy to help you get over your addiction. And oh my god, this episode is hilarious. If you haven't seen it and you need a laugh, you need to watch this one. So number three is Dawn of the Posers, and this one is another one that involves the goth kids. In fact, I think Stan and the other ones, if I remember correctly, are barely in this one at all. It basically revolves around the three main goth kids. I think they're Henrietta, Michael, and I forget the other one's name. The other two. But basically, their parents decide that they are too dark and everything, and they send Henrietta off to this camp to make her a good kid. Then she comes back and she's got pink in her hair and she's talking about different kind of music, and one of them goes, "Oh my God, it's worse than we thought. They turned her emo." And so there's this whole thing where there's like this cult kind of mentality with Henrietta and wanting to make the other kids emo, and there's like this conspiracy or whatever to like make all the kids emo and stuff like that. And then there's this whole thing with plants, and yeah, it just, we don't get to see the goth kids often enough, and I think they make interesting episodes. And yeah, just that whole, oh my god, they made her emo kind of thing. It's just, it was funny. And oh my god, I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, now I know what it was. So now they have teamed up with the Vamp Kids to defeat the emos. And they summon Edgar Allan Poe, whose goth name is Night Pain. He doesn't want to be called Edgar. That's what his mom calls him. He wants to be called by his goth name, Night Pain. And again, it's stereotypes, but it's just done in a funny way. And the Night Pain thing, that will always, always get to me. That is freaking hilarious. So we are down to number two, and number two is Fishsticks. This basically is about where Jimmy and Cartman are trying to come up with a joke, and Jimmy comes up with a fish sticks joke, which is a play on sticks, dicks. It's a dirty joke kind of thing. And basically it's, do you like fish sticks? What are you, a gay fish? And so this joke basically goes viral. It goes to Ellen, it goes to all these other shows and stuff like that. And Carlos Mencia claims that it's his because no one really knows that the boys wrote it. And Kanye West, when it's used on him, he goes ballistic. He doesn't get it, and he thinks people are just insulting him. And I love when he was like doing the dry erase board thing, and then it has gay fish and him, and he's like, they swim, and underneath him he's got rapper, genius, and Kanye being conceited like he is to get everyone knows who he is, and him being angry, and then Jimmy being angry at Cartman for stealing the joke in a way because he's claiming all the credit for it. Because Cartman lives in his own little world where he's always the hero. And it's just, I don't know, it was really good. I can watch that one over and over again because it's just so ridiculous. You got angry Kyle in his own world, Cartman, poor Jimmy, and it's just one of those episodes where they make fun of a lot of people. And yeah, I fell in love with it when I first seen it, just especially when Cartman goes back to the stories that he's telling with him and Jimmy, like with the dragons and stuff like that. And it's like, wow. So you're probably thinking, what beat Fishsticks? Because that was a really good episode. Number one is Scott Tenorman Must Die. So this one is where an older kid sells his pubes to Cartman, and Cartman thinks he's mature now, and they're like, no, you grow your own. And it's like, ugh, you know. So he's pissed off now that he got basically, tricked by this kid. And then he goes through all this crazy shit to like sell them back to the kid. And then the kid keeps like screwing with him, and it's like Cartman makes up things about a dying grandmother and a whole bunch of other stuff. But what really was the best was like the final few minutes of that episode. Like the whole thing was funny and ridiculous, just how mad he got and everything. And this kid really was a jerk, but at times you could kind of think about it as karma coming back to Cartman, but still, for a little kid, he was just so angry at what he did at the end of that episode. I really think this is one of the episodes that kickstarted like the twisted, morbid side of Cartman. Like before, he was just kind of like that ass that everyone hung out with and everything and just tolerated. But then I think that episode really, like I said, kickstarted the darker side of Cartman. And you'll know what I'm talking about if you've seen the episode. Yeah, it's one of those dark kind of funny things, and it's like, wow, like psycho kind of kid, But yeah, that is my list, and I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching. So, like I said, check out the playlist, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.